Today's message is deeply personal. For day 28, I share a heartfelt apology to my family for a past moment when my words did not reflect the love of Christ. This video is not just about mending relationships. It's about obeying God's voice, letting go of the pain, and releasing the weight of unforgiveness. For years, I have faced the sting of rejection, the cruelty of words, and the pressure to conform to cultural expectations. But God has shown me that in order to walk into His calling, I must forgive, even when it's hard. This is the work He does in the hearts of those He is about to elevate. Through Scripture, we are reminded that God often calls those the world rejects, unmasks the truth, and restores those who are willing to humble themselves before Him. If you've been hurt, misunderstood, or cast aside, I pray my testimony helps you see that forgiveness is not weakness. It is the very key God uses to unlock your next level.
Hello, beautiful people of the Most High. It is Sunday evening. I think it's maybe around 8 something or so. So I have a very important thing that the Lord has instructed me to do. I got to give you the backstory of it. All right. So after the Lord visited me on the 2nd of April this year, I was feeling pretty good and everything. And like I said, the day that He did visit me, my husband was running his errands, the monthly errands. So he was running his errands that day. And when he came home, I told him about my encounter, right? And then I also, at the time that I told him about the encounter, I apologized. From the depths of my soul, for my insecurities, because I know my insecurities had hurt him, of not believing that he really loved me. It was just, people love in different ways. Something that I just craved my whole life, and I just went around searching for it. So I apologized to him for that, and basically he had said that, I needed to apologize to everybody else, but I couldn't figure out why I needed to apologize to everybody else. So to make a long story short, I said, okay, I'll apologize to everybody else. And then I did it in a voice recording, which I'm going to connect to this video because I've been instructed to do so. I'm supposed to show the world or my followers or whoever my ugliness after He forgave me again, and after I was instructed to, apologize to people. He said that He's taken me to higher levels, and He doesn't want me taking that with me to the next level, because it's going to be a lot of temptation. They say new levels, new devils. And as you go higher, you encounter bigger devils. Okay? And I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the spiritual realm. Those that operate through and around in, just different areas. This spiritual realm is real. It's very real. And we can talk about that at another time. So basically, now I'm going to show my face. Please excuse the bags under my eyes and stuff. I'm really, really tired. I tried to cover everything up with makeup. So here we go. All right. I want to say that I'm sorry to my son, to my sisters, to my stepdaughter, Angela, to my 2 sister-in-laws for talking to you guys that way. Because even after I sent the message, Daryl actually called me and he's like, "Ma, what is wrong with you? and I start screaming at him, and he said, don't you think that was wrong? I said, no, you just don't know. I took so many years of verbal abuse and nobody's ever apologized to me. So God said that is not his ways. His ways are to forgive 70 times 7. So I'm truly sorry for talking to you all that way. I am, and I hope that you can forgive me. And I also know that the bracelet and the prayer scriptures you gave me for my birthday, Daryl, that was your way of saying goodbye. I'm sorry that I was never the mother that you really wanted. I am so sorry. I did the best that I could, but I apologize for anything that I did wrong to hurt you. But I love you all, and we will talk soon. And another reason why he told me to put this out is because he wanted me to get ahead of the game, So another thing, okay, so gang stalking. We talked about the perceived threat last week. Let's talk about another aspect that may cause it, and it's actually an incident. It can be a critical incident. It can be a small incident, but to the person or people that end up influencing the gang stalking, it is something that hurts them. Okay, and I think in my case, the critical incident was me sending that nasty apology to my family. So things like that happen, and I truly am sorry. Okay, so gang stalking can happen from critical incidents, and this is definitely an example of a critical incident. Okay, goodbye. Talk to you guys later. Hello, family. Now, I wrote this out so that I don't leave any parts out, okay? But I owe all of you an apology. That's family in blood and family in law. I already apologized to my husband and friend in person, one-on-one, because God showed me that I hurt him the most with my insecurity of not believing that he really loved me when he actually loved me the best he knew how. I owe all of you, which includes my son, sisters, sisters-in-law, and children, an apology and explanation into my behavior and how I tried to play God with the spiritual gifts he had given me. The most dangerous is the gift of discerning spirits. I have struggled for years with this gift because I can see the intent, free will of the person and any additional personalities or spirits working around them. Never the heart. Only God can see the heart, and therefore he is the only one that can judge the true character and nature of a person. I sincerely apologize from the bottom of my heart for judging your intent and free will and then condemning some of you with my words or actions. He told me he just wanted me to learn to love people that are cruel to others. Although he has delivered me as of recently, I am still a bit in a struggle with this one. But at least now I understand I was wrong. Before I get into some of the things that I wrongfully went after you for, thinking I was protecting or helping those that I loved, I just want to point out a few facts that may help put true meaning and value and common sense to some of this. When Dawn and I were both working full-time in the federal government with all of our other incentives like, military retirement, disability, and all that stuff, we would sit down and determine who in the family needed our help the most at the time, and we would follow suit. We had planned to buy Angela a crossover SUV for her and the kids, buy Daryl a nice vehicle for work, replace Whitney's car, buy little Dawn a car, but he showed up at the house in an Infinity sports car, so we knew he was doing okay. We were even going to get a nice vehicle for Lori and Veronica. Another fun fact about our money, even today, although both of us are retired and both on fixed incomes, we both have maintained our own personal checking, savings, investment, retirement accounts separately. I don't know what he has in all of his, and he doesn't know what I have in mine, which is really good. When we built this house, we opened one joint checking account that we named the house account, that we both equally contribute to pay our monthly bills and get any repairs done to the house. Even when either one of us is not working, we still have maintained our half of the bills. Even now, while retired on fixed incomes, we maintain these separate accounts. The only joint account is the house account. So I'm saying this because on one of my trips to California, I can't remember who asked me if I was working again. It was funny because I never discussed with them that I wasn't, so I'll let that one go. So I decided that it had been, long enough since I seen my grandkids, because I think Daryl knows it. I really did not like his wife. I'm sorry, I did not, and I did not like her family except for her real mother, so I'm just being honest. But I needed to meet my new grandson for the first time. I told my son I was flying down for the weekend and would stay in a hotel, but that I wanted to treat them and Liz, that's Heather's mother, to a big outing at a park with rides and food, etc. But there weren't any available on the day I was going to be in town, so, Daryl planned to cook out for me, which was so nice, and we had wine, me and Daryl, and I read to the kids, and his wife had a headache, which was fine. Just made things more intimate between me and my son. So the surprise party with the cake and the gifts were just simply beautiful, and I really enjoyed the time spent with you and the kids. What really upset me, I think, is that Saturday morning, when I texted you about coming over around noon just to spend a couple more hours with the kids before we went to dinner, instead of your wife writing back to me, she texted her mother with me on it as if I was insignificant and told her mother to pick me up around 4 to bring me to dinner. Without acknowledging me. Who does that? No more time spent with the grandkids. I spent that entire weekend except for dinner at your house and dinner at whatever that Mexican restaurant was in a hotel room. That was just horrible. And I won't mention the mess that you all made over me buying the kids lemonade at the restaurant, or me eating the rice that was part of my meal that you had planned to take home. So, congratulations on your recent divorce. I think you will do a lot better. I honestly do, Daryl. I asked the Lord, I said, why does my son hate me so much? Even when I give him money that I know he needs, instead of saying thank you, this is what you say, Daryl. You always try to outdo people. Who does that? That's like some really pent-up resentment. To take money that you know you need, and instead of saying thank you, you just make some comment like that. But I'm still working on it, okay? I'm still working on whatever. And then God said to me, he said, you actually dislike him as much as he dislikes you. And I was like, man, I guess I do. So I want to apologize for that. And God showed me the reason I dislike my son like he dislikes me is that he didn't do in life what I wanted him to do. And now you got 2 kids. So you got to wake up. You got to get it right. All right. But I do love you. To my sisters, Linda and Veronica, I really do love you, but not your ways. I can't remember the conversation that you both had with Mommy during her last trip to see me and Dawn, but it made both of us so mad. She was sitting on the couch crying so hard. And I know our mother wasn't good, but she was sitting on a couch just bawling her eyes out, asking why you all hated her so much. I think it made me the maddest. And I held it up against you until a couple weeks ago, and I think I still got some of it in me. I'm just being honest here. So especially you, Linda, because you were entrusted with our mother's care, and you literally judged her like you and your friend Kelly were some holy saint straight from the Vatican. That's holy saints straight from the Vatican, trying to exorcise demons from her. I think I cursed you and Kelly out really bad and said some really nasty things to you, like you'd be going to hell in a handbasket or something like that. So, I take that back. But what you don't know is I took leave, 1 day's leave. After that, I drove to Pittsburgh early in the morning. Me and Mom had lunch. I met some of her friends at the center. Then we went and got a power of attorney. So I had full general power of attorney that you and Veronica knew nothing about. Because I was going to be damned if you commit my mother anywhere based on the stuff that I'd seen you do. So but it's null and void now since she's passed away. So, yeah, I'm gonna leave that one there. All right, so getting to my baby sister Veronica. You really should become friends with our sister Linda again. I don't blame her for not giving you money to throw a Sweet 16 extravaganza that you didn't have money to pay for. I didn't plan to give you any for that either until you called the morning of the event crying because you were going to be in legal trouble. I'm on a fixed income, and even if I wasn't, who pays that much for a 16-year-old's birthday party except rich people? I also noticed that you had blocked me from seeing some of your content on Facebook. This is for everybody. I'm not looking to see who, what, when, where, or how anybody posts on Facebook. Linda asked me if I had heard from you lately, Veronica, because you were not taking her calls. So I said I can check on Facebook to see if she's at the doctor, etc. I think there was a photo of you and Curtis from like 2 days before that. So I told Linda you were okay because I saw a picture of you and your sister. Not sure how it was relayed to you, but you blocked me. Absolutely no hard feelings. So anyone in family in law and family in, family in blood and family in love, if you block me, I unfriended you. Not out of spite, but to give you the freedom that you need from anything my eyes might see. All right, so Angela, I think, but definitely wanted to say thank you to Candy, your grandmother, and your stepfather for making me feel welcome when I came into town for your wedding, while others ignored me. The ignoring was not the part that bothered me at all because, I was so used to that kind of behavior from my mother and stuff like that I just grown tough to it. I got some thick skin. It scares me how thick it is because I don't care. And I want to care. That's why a week before God did visit me, I said, God, you got to help me. I know you're getting ready to come back soon, but I don't feel like I'm safe because I hate my family. I hate Dawn's family. I hate Dawn and I hate me. And I said, I know this is not right. So, just to, put things into perspective there. So, where did I leave off? Okay, so I really appreciate how they make me feel at home. Your family there, Angela. But, what bothered me was that my boyfriend, who is now my husband, did nothing to protect me. Nothing. That's the part that hurt, not the fact that, people were acting any kind of way. I really don't care about, but the person that's supposed to love me just left me hanging there. And I think it all stemmed from me reaching out to shake everyone's hand when I first arrived. At the time, I had been in the military for 26 years, active duty. I would go to meetings and that's the first thing I did. So it was more of an automatic response than anything that maybe it thought like I was stuck up, or it's nothing like that. I am a military woman. I'm still a military woman, even though I'm out. Once that's inbred in you, you just automatically do that. So, but I always thought you were naturally beautiful, and even more so now. So I'm not sure what really happened between us, but I think it may have something to do with the kids visiting for the summer last year. Just to set the record straight, I do have 4 crazy German shepherds whom I provide most of the care for, which is a lot of work. I was told by your dad that the kids needed to come stay with us because they needed a break from things going on at home. And I was okay with that. I think I said a week, and Dawn said it wasn't long enough. So I said 2 weeks. And then he said to me, and I quote, "When and for how long the kids come and stay was totally up to you and your dad. Not only is this statement not true, it was downright disrespectful to me since I own this house too." So that is what stopped your trip. Nothing else. I am a person of principle and integrity, and what and how it was said to me did not meet either. So I do want the kids to come spend some time here with us. But all 3 of us, you, your dad, and me, will make that decision. All right, I promise it won't be too much longer. Okay, to my dear Vera, my sister in Christ. You know that I really love you. You and I have prayed on the side about things when I have purposely been left out of text and email strings. The part that I just can't get over is that every time Arnold and I would talk about him wanting to get his PhD, you would literally come and interrupt our conversation. In fact, during one of those interruptions, I think you said to him, "Come on, Arnold, you don't need to get a doctorate degree." I thought that was so ugly and controlling, and it showed me the arrangement of your house is out of order. For the man is the head of the house, as shown in the Bible. And as much as Dawn and I can't literally stand each other sometimes, I have always respected his position of authority. You got to get this one right, sis, because Jesus is coming soon. And it's going to be the rapture part, because things are quaking up in this earth. You see nuts around here getting ready to start World War III and all types of things. He's coming back. When he comes back, he's going to snatch his own to take us from this stuff. And then he's going to destroy everything because they're going to try to attack Israel. This stuff is really happening. You got to watch the news, not just the news, just watch different things. And this is just not for you. This is for everybody. He's coming, and you got to get yourselves together. That's why I asked him. I said, "I don't feel safe. Help me." And he did. He came and he cleansed my heart. I mean, he washed my heart. I held so much bitter and resentment for everybody that when he washed me, I literally lost 6 pounds the next day, and I ain't lying. And I had planned to get me some Monjaro or whatever that stuff is, because I hear it's good for kidneys, because I do have stage 3 kidney failure. So that's probably the acetone that you guys are smelling. I know you guys talk about me. It's not from lack of hygiene. It's a kidney condition that I worsened actually when I was in the military, because I used to lift a lot of weights and I would buy all these supplements, creatine and all that stuff. So yeah, it's there, and I'm going to try to find a cure for that. But you got to get it right. Got to get that house in order right. Okay. And then my dear Lori, whom I at one point was the closest with, we had so many things in common, and I remember us giggling every now and then about things we should not have. I probably owe you the biggest apology next to Dawn. You reminded me so much of my mother when she was young. I got to show you some pictures. She had just enough Cherokee in her to give her an exotic look. Plus, she was really, really light-skinned, so it was just awesome. But she was also the one that hurt me the most. You know, I was conceived in sin at a party. Her and my dad had just met. She didn't even think enough of me to let my father know that I existed. He happened to be in town around my 2nd birthday, and that's when he met me. And he wanted to do the right thing, so we moved to Boston or D.C. because he had been in the Air Force like in the 50s. During the Korean War, he was an air traffic controller, and he served in Japan. But my dad, he liked women, he liked liquor, and people with Native American blood could not drink liquor. So he was beating people up and stuff. So he got I don't think it was a dishonorable discharge, but it sure wasn't an honorable one. So he ended up working for some of the, what do you call those, airports as air traffic controller. And he was really good looking too. He was tall, dark, and he had black curly hair. And he had like these high cheekbones like the Native Americans. He was Blackfeet. So, let's see. Where am I? I lost my place. He was cold too. So I was, telling Dawn something that God wanted me to tell him. And then all of a sudden, I just saw this flash before my eyes, because since God did cleanse me, he's been showing me things little by little. And these aren't some good things. I'm talking about bad things, as a little girl. They were shooting over my head. And when I was telling Dawn this thing the other day, I saw the lighting in the room. It was like the walls were pink and they had this soft light on and almost looked orange. And I could literally see the 357 my mother was putting together on her leg. And she was a tiny thing back then. And then I just remember shots. And then the Lord took that away from me, because I'm really going to have to find a Christian counselor that knows prophecy and all this stuff to help me, because I'm getting flashes of some stuff that's really not good. So anyhow, you and I were really, really close. So I thought, but when you came to visit, you came with like a different, more dominant attitude than I originally had encountered. It was almost if you were going to make me or have me conform to some type of standard that would be more pleasing, etc. I'm like, oh no, she didn't. That never worked with my mother, and it certainly ain't gonna work now, and it never will work. Nobody talking and treat me like that is gonna work. It's just not, okay? So you went through my home on false pretenses and caused a divide in my house. You asked to use the iron on Monday evening when you came, which was perfectly fine. But on Friday afternoon, I did go into the room that you were staying in. I didn't go in there any other time like you think. I don't do that. So I got the iron and I put it in a common room, ironed the shirt I needed to go to the hairdresser because I was getting my hair dyed. I don't wear regular clothes when I get my hair. It's one shirt I wear and it was wrinkled. And I wanted to iron it. I didn't think I needed to answer for that. But the fallout that happened after I put that iron in that room, which I thought was nasty because I own this house too. I'm like, what the heck is this? So, let me finish here. Then you kept critiquing Breeze on when she would start looking like Autumn because Autumn was so beautiful. And a little later, I was in my office making my doggy videos and stuff like that. And I showed you a picture of Breeze because I wanted to test what I thought I was, picking up. And it was a beautiful picture of her. And she had a pretty scarf on. You said, nice scarf. I said, okay, fine. And then I quote, you said, do you have a lighter? I'm going to take a bath and burn this candle. So since you didn't have a candle in your hand, I assumed it was a candle you had brought with you. But instead, you burnt the last gift I got from a supervisor whom I really respected. He had given me that as a parting gift when he was leaving for something I had did, and it had like a special saying on it. And, it pissed me off so bad. I threw that candle away. Time you probably got in the car with Dawn. So anyhow, then you would send Christmas cards after your visit for me and Dawn, which is fine because they do have brother cards and this and that. So you would send a card, one for Dawn, for my brother at Christmas, really nice card. But then the second card, which was fine, would be a generic card, but you would put, instead of my name on it, you put to the family. It was only 2 of us, unless you were speaking about the dogs. I'm just being honest here, Lori, because that's really pissed me off. So that was like really crazy. Then you put a message out on Facebook. This was for your mother's funeral because Tony was making a video so that you need a picture. So I think I called you and asked what you wanted me to send. And you said, I quote, in tone and all, I will choose who and what pictures go into the video. And you did. Not one of me, which is fine. But that was just, I'm just like, what is this? I was like, this woman really doesn't like me. So, and it reminded me so much of my mother that I went back into my Charmaine, the spiritual demon slayer mode, and I focused on everything that I saw you doing with bad intent, especially when it came to your brother, because you did say some funky things that I didn't like. I'm just saying. And I did start to slay you. I did. That is so wrong of me. I did. I slayed you based on your intention that I knew was not good. So I truly apologize for that. So, to wrap this up, I had a really good spiritual leader, and I have to apologize to her because she was with me when I was working in hell, which is the place where I worked at the Board of Corrections for military records, where all those folks were just, they were horrible people. And then the cases that I was working were horrible. These were soldiers that murdered their kids, like 3 and 4 year old kids, cut them up and buried them in the backyard in government quarters. And one guy, he tested positive for AIDS or HIV, the one that's transmissible. And, you have to go through a certain counseling. You have to sign certain forms and stuff when you're in the military because that's considered a lethal weapon. You're deadly. You know what he did? He went around purposely after his diagnosis and signing all that paperwork and had intercourse with 30 people, got 30 people sick. And I'm like, I'm supposed to grant something to these evil people? And Loretta says, yes, God loves them. But I could not see, how could God love somebody that was so heinous? So I've got to apologize to her because she just tried to make me understand that our ways are not God's ways. What we see as evil and stuff like that, God can see the heart and knows why that person did that. And we can only see the intent, which is not the whole person. So I've stopped judging people in that manner. I will not do that again because she really has the gift of love, which Ephesians says is the the highest spiritual gift you can give, because this lady, she lost two daughters. There were other people too, and I'll talk about that in the book that I'm going to write. But her first daughter was killed in a fire because of the negligence of her sister. Her sister was high or something. The child burned to death. I think she was 14 or 15. Then a little bit later, her second daughter, who was younger than the other one, was now a grown woman, was murdered by her husband with the child in the house. So she raised her grandson, I think. But she went to these trials and she forgave these people. I'm like, that is true love. Because if somebody killed my child, no matter how much I don't get along with them, I don't know if I'd have it in my heart, but I need to contact her because I think she is the one that can help me make sense of this gift of discernment, to help me. And I'll listen to her this time to stop beating people up. You know, it's not necessary, and we're not God. So one last thing I will say, and then I'm going to tell you Happy Resurrection Day. Don, my husband and friend, has been called by the Lord God Almighty to do a tremendous work for him. I know this because God showed me, and he hasn't lied to me yet. So if I have cut some of you off at the knees or cut you at the throat, and I know I have because you snickered or you made some eluding, gesture, give me a minute on that apology, because after he's in the position he's supposed to be in, then I'll apologize. Even if him and I aren't together anymore, I'll apologize then. Okay, so happy Resurrection Day. Love you all.